In this video, which is a continuation of the prior video, I will continue more about the involving saga that is happening this afternoon as Nancy Pelosi rejects the president's $1.8 trillion deal. What does this mean for executive orders, and why is the urgency of executive orders so on key right now? Also, I'll go over that 25th Amendment twist that Nancy Pelosi threw into the mix on Friday. Additionally, I'll be going over the big twist about hazard pay and the future to get you hazard pay, and more. This is Afternoons LALATE. Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Hope you're good and safe in a day in which, there's a lot of stuff going on, and I'm here as well. This is Afternoons LALATE, and boy, I'm so glad that you joined me. Go to the front channel, subscribe, because we're trying to reach 290,000 subscribers. We're about 2,000 away. Let's do it. Let's do it. Also, like this video. In this video, I will be going over more about the call for the president to do executive orders as Nancy Pelosi basically shut the door on any path legislatively to get you stimulus before the election. Next, I will be going over really a big twist that people keep on asking me is the thought of why the president has been doing it and why the president is ultimately to blame for the situations we are here tonight for not getting a deal done. Third, I will be going over the issue of getting hazard pay locally and how to get you money right away, right now, that will replace this waiting game for stimulus. And finally, COVID. Major new COVID cases erupting across the country. And I'll be answering some of your 800 questions from yesterday. All right, let me get to the breaking news. The breaking news is that hopes for a second stimulus deal by legislative act of Congress are effectively dead as of today. Now, everything could change, The wind could pick up, and as it is right now, actually. So, things are changing. And could pick up and blow them away. And things could absolutely flop on their sides and turn around again. But at the path that we're on now, it looks like the door is closed congressionally. Congressionally, Nancy Pelosi said today that she's rejecting the $1.8 trillion deal, and she basically said that the president kept on making things look bigger, but the provisions weren't bigger. Ironically, neither side told us what these deals were. They gave us a broad stroke analysis of numbers, but not the minutia. What we want to know: how much stimulus checks, how much FPUC, how much hazard pay, how much rent. They weren't telling us this, and so millions of Americans are not happy today. But the purple power is not surprised because we have been focused on executive orders for weeks. We knew that Nancy Pelosi was playing a game. We knew that Nancy Pelosi had a trick up her sleeve, and we knew that Nancy Pelosi may not actually want to give you stimulus. So we turned to executive orders. Today is the final call to make it very loud and clear, not the final day, but the largest, loudest call to do executive orders because it's now or never. The clock is getting close. If you want stimulus checks to land in people's hands before they vote, and we're talking about 10-day deadline, a 10-day routing time to get the stimulus checks if you're set up for electronic receipt, if you're on SSDI, SSI, Social Security, railroad benefits, will you pay your taxes electronically? Well, 10 days from now would still get the stimulus checks in people's hands before they go to the polling place, not for mail-in voting. So get it done, Mr. President. Let me answer two reoccurring comments that I'm seeing, and I don't know, if this is a troll or if this is really a comment. One comment I'm seeing is it's not his job to get you stimulus. Yeah, I'm seeing that comment a couple times lately. Well, let me explain how the situation's sort of different this time around. This time around, the president decided that among the entire Republican Party, half of the acting people in Washington, he would designate someone from his cabinet. No, a correction, two people from his cabinet, Mark Meadows and Steve Mnuchin, and that they would negotiate the position of the Republicans. Now, what's important to understand is that when you negotiate laws in act of Congress, you don't do it with cabinet members. It's generally not done that way. It's done by the people actually in the Congress. So usually the senators negotiate the bills that are in the Senate, and the House representatives negotiate the bills in the House. But this time around, unlike the prior stimulus package deal, the president put all the United States focus for the Republican Party in the voices and eyes and ears of two people, which ultimately became one person, Steve Mnuchin. And so someone's today, coming back and say, well, it wasn't the president's job to get you stimulus. Oh, well, he took ownership of the job. It normally is not. That is correct. The president is in the executive branch. But the president decided to do basically a legislative branch. And ultimately, that did not work. And the reason it did not work was because Steve Mnuchin was not negotiating for things that the Senate would agree to. And I've been detailing over the last 24 hours. Boy, Chuck Grassley, Mitch McConnell, all these people in the Senate said, we're not doing this number, we're not doing this number. And I detailed in the video before that they called up the president this today, and Mark Meadows and Steve Mnuchin says, hold up, you're not going higher than 1.8. We're not even agreeing to 1.8. So there's that twist. The next twist is a few people are dropping in the comments to say, the president's not sending out stimulus or doing executive orders for stimulus packages because he can't. Needs to say he's done it before. LWA, Earth to Mars. Somewhere along the path of false narratives, someone's now trying to say the president can't do executive orders after he's done one for Red Aid, for eviction moratoriums, after he's done one for mortgage forbearance, after he's done one for LWA and enhanced unemployment benefits. No, that false narrative doesn't work. What you need to understand is that the president has legal authorities to send out stimulus relief if it's not in Treasury. Money coming out of Treasury needs act of Congress, but money that's already in the coffers of existing agencies can be repurposed by the president. Next, hazard pay. Hazard pay, and hazard pay locally. What's important to understand is that there's a lot of money locally across the country. And this is the $150 billion from CARES Act 1 money, and I want you to go get it. We're 7 minutes into this video, and I'm wanting you to get money. I don't want you to sit back and wait for these people anymore. I want you to get money. First, I want you to go on Twitter and look for a delegate in your area, Purple Power delegate. And if you're a Purple Power delegate, make it clear you're a Purple Power delegate. Hashtag P, the letter your state, like FL, so it would be PFL, space, hashtag LALATE. You need to put the two hashtags together and look for that delegate. That delegate will help you look eyes and ears for grants, rent, food, stimulus, hazard pay that's being announced in your cities and counties in your state. Basically, what I've empowered those people to understand from my videos, I'm not instructing them, and they're not, I'm not appointing them delegates. This is a grassroots efforts. They've understood that you go on Google News, you search for these news articles that are announcing these grant programs, and that the programs are only open for a short period of time. You got to apply quickly and get that money. Some viewers have done it on their own accord. I've had senior citizens tweet me and send me DMs, say, thank you, LA. I found money for rent for me and my girlfriends. We're all seniors. We're all in our 80s, and we really appreciate your help. I've had people who are very young, in their 30s and 20s, saying, thank you. I found a rent aid in Texas for me. You gotta have the spirit of helping one another, work together, and get to the finish line. Next, EIDL. EIDL loans, please go get them. My goodness. SBA.gov. I'll say it again, SBA.gov. If you're an independent contractor, if you're a sole practitioner, if you have anything that is Schedule C, if you're an Uber Lyft driver, if you're a Grubhub driver, if you're an Airbnb operator, anything that you have a Schedule C for in 2019 earnings, I don't care if you made $7,000 on that Schedule C, go get an EIDL loan. Because ultimately, the principal and interest is not due for the first year. It is the money you need now to get through this pandemic. And don't be afraid of a loan, because ultimately, this is money that can make the difference of rent for your apartment for 3 months. Imagine getting a $7,000 loan. Well, I don't want to use rent for your apartment, but it could be the difference of of food on the table versus something else. If you need assistance on an EIDL loan, on filling it out, go into the sticky comment and find the private on Instagram, the LLA private. Next, COVID cases. Oh my goodness. Today, U.S. reported 57,000 new COVID cases, the highest daily total since mid-August, says Johns Hopkins. This is not good. New cases are rising in 33 states across the southeast and Midwest. States continue to surge in the Great Plains, including Montana, North Dakota, South Dakota, and Wyoming, with record new dailies. This is not good. Officials are concerned about the record number of cases, and these may be attributable to back at school. On Thursday, White House coronavirus advisor Dr. Anthony Fauci said he's not comfortable with this number. That was before it's the current level. Not good. What's important to understand is the next point, 25th Amendment. It sounds crazy. The crazy thing sounds crazy, but it is a distraction. And ultimately, if we're trying to get stimulus, we shouldn't be talking about the 25th Amendment. On Friday, Nancy Pelosi announced a committee to determine who's crazy or not in Congress and politics. And that she's the ultimate authority on whether you're crazy or not. I can't say it with a straight face. I mean, it's almost something that you would discuss at the casino. You need a couple drinks before you do this report. But Nancy Pelosi's trying to determine who's crazy or not. And what's sad is that this is not the priority. The priority is stimulus. And ultimately, what that does for your stimulus is it detracts the focus. The focus should be on stimulus. Now, Senate Republicans have the focus on Judge Barrett. Mr. President, he has a focus on stimulus. He also has a focus on being reelected. But Nancy, she wants to distract you from stimulus, distract you from a Supreme Court nominee. She wants to distract you from everything, and it involves chasing the postman around for a scandal, or chasing Mr. Barr around for another scandal, or trying to do another impeachment of the president, a third scandal. I mean, that was just in the last 2 weeks. Well, now we have a new one, 25th Amendment. It's days like this that you wonder why these people are in Congress, why they're paid with our money, if all their job is to do is come up with scandals and write a little bill and slide it into the House that never gets voted upon, never gets approved, and maybe if it's approved, then certainly dies a quick death like the postal bill is. It's a very disconcerting time, and Americans need stimulus relief. But the important part in bringing up the 25th Amendment is that Nancy Pelosi is once again trying to do everything that she can to distract you from stimulus. What? How does that work? Well, basically what's going on is that some of her party, her caucus, has said it's dangerous for Democrats to go into the election having not given stimulus to the American people. So guess what she's doing? She's going to try to distract you and not realize that you don't have that $1,200 stimulus checks in your pocket, as though you would forget that. Distract you and not have you realize you didn't get that $4,000 in FPUC because it's been 8 weeks. Well, it's been 10 weeks at $400 a week, which is what Steve Mnuchin offered, and she rejected it. She wants to distract you so you don't realize you don't have that $10,000 for hazard pay you would have had you, had she agreed to everything else the president was offering and just kept hazard pay in there. And so these distractions are to keep people unfocused and unaligned. What's important to understand as we sit here today is, and before I get to some of your incredible comments, is that I'm concerned about what's going to happen after the election. And I'm very concerned about how long we have to wait to see the answer. Dan Dallas, if anything, Nancy's not fit to be in office. Peggy Boots, she's going to throw a wrench in everything she can get. Marlene, if the president wanted to help the American people like he keeps saying he would have done executive orders, plain and simple, my God, get it done. I love that comment. Thank you, Marlene Howard. Brooklyn Darlin, Trump should save all the drama, do executive order. Enough dealing with crazy Pelosi. Very well said, Brooklyn. Teresa Merritt, she needs to get over herself and get everyone the checks that we need. Linda Hutchinson, looks like Pelosi runs this country and says Trump. What a joke. T.G. Tony, the president's language is a manifestation of crazy. Minnie Lutz, Pelosi has gone stark craving mad. She needs to be removed. She's crazy. Randy Farr, when Nancy Pelosi points a finger at her, at what she calls crazy president, she has three fingers pointing back at her. Who is really crazy? Go Purple Power. Don Beck, this is pure craziness. All these sitting here on their livelihood getting paid and no issues. But I really do appreciate LA and the Purple Power, but everything else I don't appreciate having to wait through all this and my stimulus. Colleen Evans, executive order, generous stimulus checks. What the hell, White House? Rod, we need Americans to demand that the House of Representatives remove Pelosi. If you saw me rant, I think it was in the earlier video, I said, it's starting to become a blur. I said, I think we need a federal law for us to decide how much stimulus we need. Lynn Proctor, Nancy and some of the others must spend all their time trying to get rid of Trump. Patricia, Trump just needs to sign a check and forget about it. This is crazy. Patricia Sanders, love your comment, Patricia. Chloe Corona, Nancy's trying to screw up the election and the Democrats are trying to lose the race. Please do executive order so she can look more crazy. I love that too. Go to the front of this channel and subscribe because you won't look crazy. I won't look crazy unless it's bad lighting again. Then I look a little crazy. Just don't use 25th Amendment on me. And also like this video. Coming up next is Mitch. Yeah, Mitch is back in that time slot where unemployment normally is, and I will be covering unemployment as well. Why Mitch caused such a wrench in this entire negotiations, and even today is absolutely part of the problem of why $1.8 trillion didn't work. And then coming up after that is Pelosi versus Mnuchin. As always, stay informed, stay smiling, stay focused, and stay alive for more.